This would be the approximate length of a dog training session that you're watching here. This is all one session. I work with the dogs, and then Katya works with the dogs. And the portion which I work with the dogs is about 8 minutes, give or take. There's a few minutes missing, or like about a minute and a half that's missing, just because Katya's running the camera. She's not used to running this one. And the iPhone Max 8, like when you have it on the macro setting, if you have a finger close to it, it picks up the finger, so it's getting blue glove. So it's missing about a minute and a half. But this whole thing, working on heel, about 8 minutes. Now, the whole session, including where Katya picks it up and starts working them, is probably another 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. So we work them probably a little bit over 15 minutes, under 20. You never really want to work a dog over 20 for sure. 20 would be a very long session. Notice how there's this challenging behavior, so I'm trying to get them under control. It might look like they're doing a good job, but they're not really. And see, even Toto's like, so see the challenging stuff. But about 3 minutes into it, they really start getting it. They get in the rhythm. It's first session of the day. Don't expect miracles. You have to work with the dogs, and when you're teaching two dogs to heel on the left-hand side, sometimes it doesn't go real smooth. These dogs are doing pretty good now, but this was a lot of effort to get them to do this, and Gus is still sort of difficult to deal with. He is. He's a gregarious male Labrador. Labradors are extremely excitable. There's like this constant. See, there's a lot of him trying to egg on Toto. It's definitely, if you look, you can see it. If you understand dogs, you can see that this is like me monitoring the dogs and telling them to knock it off. One thing's for sure is there's no jockeying for positions. Toto's on the inside. She does a tighter heel. She's easier to contain. And I need her, because she heels on me, it wouldn't make any sense to have Gus heeling on me, because he doesn't heel as good. So then Toto has to heel on the dog that doesn't heel as good. It makes no sense. Toto's on the inside. She does a better heel. That's how it works. But it really doesn't matter, how many dogs are here. I've said this so many times. It doesn't matter if it's 5 dogs. They all heel on one side. If you're working with somebody that you see that they have a bunch of dogs around them in various positions, right, left, back, that's not heel. It's a dog whisperer you're dealing with, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Look, you can't explain. See what Gus is doing? He's kind of nibbling at her ear. I'm telling him to knock that crap off. He's distracting her, and he's getting her in trouble. He's challenging her to screw up. It's not playtime, Gus. We're doing this. We're doing this now. Labradors are great, but there's this misconception with them that, oh yeah, they're great dogs. They are. I've owned many of them. I've lived with many labs. But you have to use methods of control. You have to work them daily. All dogs you should be working daily. If you can't find 5 minutes in the morning to train your dog and 5 minutes in the evening, why'd you get the dog? You just want it laying around the house, getting in trouble so you can come home and yell at it? That makes no sense. Why'd you get the dog? They're a lot of work. Dogs aren't about convenience. This whole session here with me walking with Gus and Toto, I had them at heel for 8 minutes. There's a tiny bit missing just because there was empty space, like Katya was moving. So I took that out because there's no sense in you seeing that. And then at the end, this iPhone 12, if you toggle it into one of the lenses, it'll pick up anything close to it. So it's getting a little bit of her blue glove. So there's only about right there's some blue gloves. See what I'm saying? But there's only about a minute and a half missing. So you're talking about, I worked with Gus and Toto about 8 minutes. And then she worked with Gus and Toto for about 8 or 9 minutes. So you're looking at just a little bit over 15 minutes and under 20. That would be a typical length of session for dogs that have had some training. You wouldn't, say your dog has no training, you wouldn't start out doing them a 15-minute session. You might do it just for a couple minutes and build on success, but you might do it multiple times in the day. These dogs have had a lot of training, and they're both functioning pretty good. And it's harder, I'm telling you, it's flat out harder with Katya out here, because a lot of their training lately to get to heel, it's just been me out there. So I was like, Katya, come on outside, you run the camera, and it's going to make it more difficult for the dogs. Now, that's not saying that Katya wasn't working with the dogs yesterday too. She was doing something else, which you'll see her doing that in just a bit, which is having the dogs on targets and then calling them to heel. But she's making the dogs honor. She's making the dogs behave, meaning if she calls Gus, Toto can't come. It's oh, by the way, I'm doing an inside circle. That can help your dogs learn to heel. Sort of contains them. I'm just doing an inside circle, right? Outside circle would be more difficult. We're not doing that right now. But she's working them honoring, meaning Toto was a champ for her. You'll see Toto was a champ. Gus, much more difficult kind of dog. Like I said, it's a male dog. He's sort of gregarious, trying to see what he can get away with. But she totally keeps both of them under control, and they did great. But it's a perfect example. See, I'm not the only one that can do this. I'm not saying that you could take your dog out in the backyard and your two dogs and get this kind of success. This has been hours of work with both dogs to get them like this. Absolutely hours. Don't be unrealistic. This isn't, just some kind of aberration that these dogs can do this. This has been a lot of hard work. I was working with these dogs back when I had the hernia, before the operation, right? And I had to work with them after the operation. There's been no time that these dogs have been here that they haven't been worked with. And then when I couldn't do it, Katya was working with them. So both of us have been working with them the whole time. But here's an example of Katya working with Gus and Toto. Now look at what she's using there. She's using a sunflower stalk, like a cane, and she's using that as a healing stick, as a pointer, to make her arm look longer. If you saw the video before this, she's telling Gus to knock it off. If you saw the video before this, Gus isn't behaving. She's giving Gus a ration of shit. She's going to make him behave. You don't get to move Gus until you behave. But the video before this, I was using the sunflower stalk for the same thing. And it was to sort of block Gus and make sure that Gus knows, like, yeah, our arms can be longer. We can stop you from moving. Just because Toto's moving doesn't mean that you're supposed to move. Katya's doing a great job here controlling Gus and, giving Toto direction. It's much harder to work with two dogs than one, and one dog isn't easy. One dog isn't easy. Yeah, 4 million dogs dying every year. These dogs are being compliant. They did not get like this overnight. This was a lot of work. We both have put a lot of hours into both these dogs. So don't be unrealistic with your dog, and don't think that just because you see us doing it, that you're going to be able to go out there in your backyard and get your dog to do this. Now watch what she's doing. Toto was down. She's making Toto sit up. She said sit. Don't go in the down position. She's teaching Toto that she needs to follow directions. If Toto would go in the down position and she let her, then Toto would be... Gus is not paying attention. He's itching. And Katya's like, no way. Gus is using avoidance. That's what he was doing. I'm just going to itch and ignore her. So she's very clear with Gus, like, you stop itching and do what you're told, dude. Look at Toto. Toto's flawless in this. Gus is actually having problems because I'm out here. So probably Katya will do a session doing this with, by herself with Gus and Toto and not me. I'm running the camera, I'm moving around. It's a distraction for both the dogs, but it's really a distraction for Gus. It's like Gus's chance to like screw up. That's what it is. But look at Toto. But like I said, like watch Katya's totally got both dogs under control. You can use a long stick like this. This is a very light. This is, like I said, this is sunflower cane. It's extremely light. You do not hit the dog with it. You don't hit the dog. You could like touch the dog with it, yes, but you do not hit the dog. Like you would use it like a healing stick, like you just kind of could bounce it off the dog's chest if it was going forward, like that. You don't hit the dog with any object. That is not proper dog training. That's bullshit. They make a thing called a healing stick. It isn't quite as long as the sunflower sticks, and to be perfectly honest, I'm sort of liking the sunflower sticks. That's Gus being disrespectful. Katya doesn't like that, and I don't blame her. She's giving him shit. She's saying, "Get your shit together, dude." I'm talking to her right now. Like, I forgot what we were talking about. Gus being obnoxious. So I said, make sure that his e-collar is on. That's what she's doing right there. See, there's my hand now. If you put your hand close to the lens of this thing on, you know, certain lenses on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you'll see it. Great camera though. I'm very happy with it. I have a very positive experience with it. Look at Toto. Toto's absolutely flawless. Absolutely flawless. She's doing great. I'm not saying Gus is doing bad. I'm just saying that Gus is obviously being more work. Gus is always more work. When I was doing heel, it was more work keeping Gus in control than Toto. And that's the same thing here. Like Katya is, you know, Toto's not giving us too much shit, but Gus would have more of a tendency to just kind of try and do what he wants. You let a dog like that do what they want, a young dog like that, they just start doing it whenever they want. They don't listen. They don't listen. You let him get away with it. Like, remember when Katya corrected Toto when she went in the down position and she said no sit? It was imperative that she did that. You can't just let a dog do whatever it wants. If you do that, you end up having a dog that just starts functioning instinctually. And that's all the bad shit. So you want them to function in conditioned commands, and that's why you have them work in a repetitious fashion like this. See how she's making Gus go to the place target? And now she's having Toto do it. And she has the stick sort of up in case Gus would come off his mark. But Gus is better because Katya was working with Gus yesterday, and Gus is starting to pick it up. That, you know, he can't be doing that. He's not going to get to move. And remember, there's many different things that are positive reinforcement. Running, that the command itself. You don't have to be saying good or good boy, or, you know, all the time. So you have to monitor the dog. If you're saying good too much, you know, or using a tone that's like good boy like that, you're just going to cause excitement and the dog will screw up. That is just a fact. So here we have toters, and I think that this will be the last casting, and then Katya is going to heel with both dogs. Now, right now, we're almost at 14 minutes, something like that. No, we're right at 12 minutes, okay? You see, Toto's very compliant. She's a different dog. You can't really compare her to Gus. Gus is good. Gus has his good points, too. Now, Toto's at heel. Now Katya's going to very skillfully get Gus under control and walk with both the dogs at heel. So see what Gus is doing? He's trying to challenge Toto. So Katya has to tell Toto and Gus both to knock it off, but not create a lot of excitement. But they're off walking. Notice how she's using the stick in a very intelligent fashion, showing Gus the stick. Don't go past this. You know, slow the dog down. Remember, dog training is muscle memory. It's a lot of muscle memory. See how she's making them back up? It's making them back up. It's muscle memory. If they were running around the yard right now, she wasn't keeping them under control. That's exactly what they would be trained to do, is run around the yard and act like idiots. But this isn't something that, like, you got 2 dogs, you go take them out in the backyard and see if you can get them to do this. This is taking a lot of work. She's worked with them. I've worked with them. It's been a lot of work. It's not easy. And remember, training 1 dog is difficult, but training 2 dogs is much more difficult. So if we had a 3rd dog in this doing heel, which we could do, it's no problem. We could go get one of the other dogs and have them, somewhere in there. They would do it. Dude, I have videos doing it with 5 different dogs. It's no big deal. Theoretically, you could have 10 dogs that all be on the same side healing. But the trick is that the dog that is closest, you want to be a real good healer, and that would be the red healer, Toto. See, Gus isn't quite as proficient at healing, and it's work. It's work. Katya's really working. She's reminding Gus and Toto at the same time that they need to remain at heel. But totally successful training session. Like I said, this would be a typical length of dogs that have had this amount of training. Would be, 16, 17 minutes maybe, depending on what we're doing. We'd never do any longer than 20 minutes, that's for sure. And they sit. Good job.